and being a visible Muslim woman pose unique challenges for integrating into Canadian society. For example, Muslim women who choose to wear the hijab, the traditional head covering, may encounter negative attitudes and discrimination at school or in the workplace. Even within the Muslim community, Muslim women struggle to combat the practices of some Muslims that go against true Islamic teaching. Over 1400 years ago, Islam guaranteed women the right to vote, the right to an education, the right to own and inherit property, and the right to divorce. The Prophet Muhammad demanded Muslims to respect and treat all women with kindness and to value their perspective and contributions in society. Itrat Saeed and Khadija Hafaji describe the unique challenges of Muslim women.
There are many challenges I think Muslim women face. They face a challenge just by being female. And then added to that is that they may be people of color. And then the third component is the fact that they're Muslim. And if they're Muslim, some of them might have more of a challenge than others if they wear hijab.
The idea that there's some kind of generalized icon of the Muslim woman's identity is part of the problem. You see a woman in a scarf and you decide what she thinks and what she is and why she was wearing that and how her family structure is. So when I walk into a feminist organization or a women's center wearing a scarf, and even though I might work in that organization, how people see me is not determined by what I say or what I do, but the scarf on my head. So I think it's important to sort of challenge those ideas of what we need and reclaim our own choices and reclaim our own bodies and be able to decide what we want to do and why we want to do it, and be able to determine that for ourselves and not let any other force impose their opinions upon us.
Defining oneself as a Muslim becomes more difficult when negative stereotypes about Islam exist. Stereotypes that are perpetuated in the academic world, the entertainment business, and the news media. The Canadian arm of the Council on American Islamic Relations is an advocacy organization committed to providing accurate information on Islam and a voice for the Muslim community.
For Canadian Muslims, there are many stereotypes about Islam. And these stereotypes did not arise after 9/11, but they were pre-existing stereotypes. And so it's very easy then to demonize the entire community. The idea, for example, that Islam is violent, there's a clash of civilizations, and that their values and their beliefs and their outlook and ethos is completely antagonistic to the Western views and the Western values. And many of these themes tend to have very little evidence behind them. They're very speculative, they're very sensationalistic, and you know, they're really not backed by any hard or any scholarly evidence. And it's interesting when you look at the media themes and the hate incidents, because you find there to be striking similarities between the hate incidents and between certain media themes.
Karim H. Karim is a professor of journalism at Carleton University in Ottawa. In his book, Islamic Peril, he describes the historical and current perspectives of Muslim stereotypes in the West.
There's a very long history of Western portrayals of Muslims. You find it going as far back as Mozart in his music and his operas. And there are historical roots to this. And I look at that as to how the cultural understanding of what the East is about, what Muslims are about, cannot be divorced from the current coverage. Because it shapes, it's a particular mindset, because our culture, our socialization, the classics that we read, the movies that we see, shape our understanding about other peoples. And when the news happens, it is not reported without a context, without a particular frame. And the frame in the mind of the journalists and media organizations and editors is very much shaped by their own socialization, by their cultural upbringing.
Jamal Badawi is a professor at St. Mary's University in Halifax. He is internationally recognized for his expertise on a wide range of Islamic topics, including the Muslim family, gender equity, Islamic law, and comparative religion.
The campaign of Islam bashing, of course, has its own agenda, which is not always a sincere search for truth. And when an agenda is the underlying current, if this kind of agenda is there, then obviously it's very easy to find the cases where people are doing something that would confirm specific stereotypes. In other words, you keep confirming stereotypes by way of exaggeration. But on the other hand, it is honest also to say that yes, in some instances, some Muslims behave in ways that does not give a good image of Islam, not because Islam teaches that, but because they deviate from Islam. But those who bash Islam and Muslims, they don't bother to find out whether this is done actually as a result of Islam or in spite of Islam, for that matter. And the media focus seems to be always on the radical, the exceptional, the violent, which is not a very honest way also of representing a community of 1.3 billion people.